a certain product was making $14,000 on revenue. We use Zonguru to get this data. And this seller started selling in February and it had 0 reviews.
Yeah.
So there's a product that's doing $14,000 a month on Amazon Australia right now, and it's a top seller, and it has 0 reviews.
0 reviews.
Yeah.
0 reviews.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Conquer podcast.
What up?
What's going on? Welcome back.
How are we all today?
Feeling good. Feeling good. Back in Bali, had a little break. Feeling good.
We've got a pretty exciting topic to discuss today, don't we?
Well, our exciting topic is always Amazon Australia.
It is indeed.
Tell you about.
And that's why it's exciting. This is the topic that we nichely know the most information about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the audience is dying to hear this. They're wondering, guys, what is going on with Amazon Australia? Is it growing? Is it stagnating? Is it declining? What's going on? What have you seen, Chris?
It is pumping still. It has not slowed down for the last few years. And if anything, it's just getting bigger and bigger. Popping back to Australia last week, and I don't know about you, but I saw some ads again for Amazon Australia. It's everywhere. It's just flourishing. That's the word I'm going to put it. It's flourishing even more than it ever has.
Yeah, we've really noticed that this year in even our products. I think last time I checked, it was 50% more increase in sales from last year without adding any new products. I mean, we added mouth tape and nose tape, but they don't make heaps of money. But generally speaking, we've seen just with the same products in now the second full year of selling, right? Yeah, just a massive increase in sales. And that just comes down to purely that there's just more people shopping on Amazon Australia right now. That's literally it. There's just more search volume, and whenever I'm on Amazon now and I'm looking through, I'm shopping, I'm always also checking search volume. Everything's just up. There is demand everywhere, where I remember once upon a time there was not that demand.
I was going to add to the search volume thing, because even with trending products, for example, ice baths a year ago were highly trending. The search volume hasn't changed that much from when we first started selling in Australia. It's actually probably the same, if not more, just because of the amount of people. The trend has dropped off a little bit, but the volume of people coming to Amazon Australia has picked up. So you're going to add something there? Sorry, just cut you off.
Yeah, now I've lost it. It's disappeared. Sorry, I
Forgave,
didn't get in there fast enough.
Into the atmosphere. Sorry about that.
You gotta shoot, aim, and
what I was going to say is it actually kind of almost baffles me that when we first created our Conquer Amazon Academy, it's almost in August, our Conquer Amazon Academy will be 3 years old. So if you think about when we were doing the first rendition of the Launchpad, and if you're not one of our students, our Launchpad is the most epic resource you'll have to actually finding a product. So there's an art and a science to finding a product and validating a product to be successful on Amazon. And we have this resource called the Launchpad, which is based on data. You're always making data-driven decisions. But when we made that was 3 years ago. And the criteria of data that we were saying back then versus now is drastically different.
And that's why we had to redo the entire program. That took us a year basically to do. We finished the 2.0 program I think it was October last year. So October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. So it's 6-7 months ago we kind of finished the last rendition of the program, which is all up to date with the current metrics, with everything that's working right now. And
we broadened the possibilities as well. One thing we worked on was how can we give more options, and we broadened the sort of search criteria, because more and more product ideas and more volume was coming in. More and more niches are starting to pop off. So there maybe 2 or 3 years ago, there was a few products that you could do really well in, but now there's just continuous opportunity out there.
Well, back then when we said, we sell on Amazon or buy that on Amazon, people are is Amazon like eBay? Even the mentality between friends or people that we just general society in Australia, Amazon is now, everyone knows what Amazon is. Whereas 3 years ago, it was still, we were explaining what the difference between Amazon and eBay were. Yeah,
I have a friend that literally, we've been friends for maybe 6 months, and when we first met, he was like, Amazon, isn't that like a scam? I'm just and now he shops on Amazon every single day. Amazon is just once you actually just buy one thing from Amazon and it arrives the next day, and you realize how fucking easy it is to use as a customer, you're just well, obviously this is all I'm going to use now. And that's the beauty of Amazon, is that the customer receives the product so quickly. Amazon treats them so good. any reason they want. They can get a refund, so they feel so safe with their purchase. Amazon is this big international company, so they're trusted and customers just know that like, oh yeah, I've heard of that before. It's just in Australia, there was this weird like stigma around it maybe a year ago. Whereas now, literally everyone shops on Amazon. Like I would go downstairs in my apartment building in Gold Coast, just littered with Amazon packages
that's
everywhere.
right.
The convenience. It's like the Bali of online shopping. You got everything you want and anything you need straight away.
Instant at your doorstep, and it's just so easy to shop. But the thing is with Amazon Australia is that it's just continuously growing. However, with that demand that's on the platform, like the competition hasn't gotten much better in terms of the sellers.
No.
That's the funny part about it. Like with all of these niches that I'm looking at and I just see the search volume up, I then look at it and I'm like, but there's no new sellers.
Yeah. You had a student the other day reach out to you and you were looking over their niche, and would you explain that? Because you were saying that the top 2 sellers like didn't even have any reviews or anything like that.
Yeah, so I was talking to a student, we were going over his launchpad and the products that he was, making a decision if he wanted to go forward with. And I was actually really surprised that the top 2 sellers were a new design. One of them, the top seller, was making $12,000 on his screen, $14,000 on my screen a month in revenue on Amazon.
Maybe just that sounds confusing.
Yeah, okay. So let's say this certain product was making $14,000 on revenue. We use Zonguru to get this data. And this seller started selling in February and it had 0 reviews.
Yeah.
So there's a product that's doing $14,000 a month on Amazon Australia right now, and it's a top seller, and it has 0 reviews.
0 reviews.
Yeah.
0 reviews. So that means it has no social proof. It's a brand new product, and it's straight away the top seller doing $14,000.
And I'm assuming it's not a well-known brand, and it probably doesn't have much A+ content or anything. It's probably just basic stock standard. It's just a new design that hasn't been sold yet, which is what we always talk about.
Yeah.
That's the opportunity.
Yeah, also it's a stock. If you look at this product in Amazon USA, this type of design thriving over there, and someone just brought it onto Amazon Australia, again, 0 reviews.
Yeah.
And we're talking with this student, okay, how can you make this product better, more visually appealing? You need to stand out on Amazon because it is a visual platform. How can you make it better? And you need to execute fast. As we say that success loves speed. Right now, this top seller is thriving, and there's no doubt going to be other competitors going to be like, oh, this product is selling this design, we're going to get there as well. And the benefit of selling in Australia when you are an Australian, it's easier to get those initial reviews because you can, ask family, friends, have those kind of
now also this is something I wanted to talk about, is that Vine review is available in Amazon Australia, and sellers don't know about it yet. So
well, it's hard to get it because, for example, you told me you could see it on your screen. On my Seller Central account, I didn't have it because I had to tick a box to allow me, because I'm a secondary user to the account.
But most people won't have that issue. But just
I don't think
for the audience, though, to explain what Vine Review is, basically, it's a program that Amazon has. So once upon a time, there was an influx of fake reviews on Amazon. Anyone could leave a review without purchasing a product. So you could imagine how many, if as a seller, you'd just be like, all right, there were services basically that you would pay, and anyone from anywhere could leave reviews on Amazon at any time without even buying the product. And you could just have thousands of reviews. Amazon was like, okay, that makes our platform look disingenuous. It makes it look unhonest. So they basically made it very strict then to get reviews. They said this has to be a verified purchase, and they don't even accept all reviews. They need to make sure that those reviews are real reviews, and they AI check it and everything, and they even cross-reference with the words to the product to make sure it's accurate. And now Amazon actually gets very shitty about reviews. They can flag you if they think a review is fraudulent and this type of thing. In fact, I heard of a business in USA that's a $30 million USD a year business. Yeah. They got taken down, wiped off because Amazon found out that they were manipulating reviews. Yeah. So it's Amazon's pretty strict with reviews, particularly in USA. But what Amazon has done is created this Vine review program where basically Amazon has a bunch of customers that they offer this to that are good reviewer customers. And then Amazon says, hey, do you want these products for free? And then you as a seller just give them the product for free. Amazon gives it to the Vine review people, and then they have to leave a review, an honest review. And you can get up to 30 of those from the get-go, meaning that day one, you get your product on Amazon Australia, you go into Vine review, you click 30 reviews, you have to give 30 units away for free, but you're guaranteed over a period of time, over the next 2 weeks or so, to get 30 reviews. And that's a major benefit, because if these sellers don't know about that, they're launching, they have 0 reviews. You go straight into Vine, you get 30 reviews, and then you get your friends and family to purchase the product and leave reviews as well. Now you've got, 40, 50 reviews, and from the get-go, you just look like a big dog. You're so established. You have so much authority. You have so much social proof, and it's just so likely that the customer is going to buy your product over someone who has no reviews.
It just highlights the product Veronica was talking about earlier, that once again, these guys aren't Amazon sellers, because if they knew about that, if they were Amazon sellers, they wouldn't have 0 reviews after 2 months selling. They would have at least 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Vine reviews. You don't always have to get the 30, but like, they obviously don't understand this. So these guys aren't Amazon sellers, and that's just like opportunity. And we find more products like this every time we look.
Yeah, and I think that for people who are listening, so reviews, it may seem about like how odd that you guys are taking the moment to actually talk about reviews. But if you think about your own behavior as a consumer, whether you're on Amazon or any other platform, I know that when I buy my activewear, I always go to the reviews because I want to know how a small versus an extra small is fitting. I always look at reviews. Reviews are so important, and even on a subconscious level, it will affect the decision you make to purchase a product. So if you're thinking about getting into Amazon, you're like, what is this whole review thing about? Just think about how you, as a customer, as a consumer, is actually shopping, and the effect that reviews have to you, and then you can actually grasp how important they are to any business.
It's so strange to think about it, like how the whole like impulse buy, I feel like, isn't as big a thing these days, especially on Amazon, because you have the different options. You want to compare products, and then you do go to reviews. But you think about like a brick and mortar business, impulse buy is like you go in there, you like an item of clothing, you buy it. You're not looking for how many reviews does this dress have or something. But Amazon, like, people go and look to see what those customers do. It's literally what people do online now, and they want the credibility.
You can only force the impulse purchase on Amazon by having the reviews and having the optimized listing and having the A+ content, which is if you have a registered brand, then you get the video, then the website. If you have all of that and amazing reviews, then they'll impulse buy. That's the only way to really do it.
And we see correlation as well, like throughout all marketplaces of like your rating, because you get rating. Amazon gives you a rating. For people that don't know, you get a rating by how many reviews. So it's out of 5 stars, and you can see the star rating. And we see correlation as our ratings go down, sales drop off, ratings go back up, sales pick up. It's a huge correlation.
So much so, if we have there's a star rating that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars, and you can have half stars. So you can be like 4.5 stars, 4 stars, and then 3.5 stars. But then there's written underneath it like the exact digit of rating. So it could be like 3.7 rating, but that's 3.5 stars, right? So we've noticed the difference between having a 4.0 rating compared to a 3.9 rating. It's basically the same. It's 0.1 difference, but just from being in a 3.9 to 4, which still shows up as 4 stars, but our conversion rate drops by like 3% or 4%.
Yeah.
Just by like that little metric. So we know, like with data, and for everyone listening that's new to business, all decisions are based off of data. You collect information about every part, so then you can tweak things. But we know that we need to keep for that product over 4-star rating, 4.0 rating, because our conversion rate substantially increases because of that. Customers are pretty AWOL when it comes to AWOL. Is that the word? No. They're pretty serious when it comes to reviews.
And bring it back to like Vine reviews in Australia, and how like how much of a game changer that is. So we teach in Study Academy, and we strive to produce good products that customers love. We always talk about making sure the customer loves that product. So when you create your first product and you've made it the best of your abilities, it's got everything it needs to be a really high quality product when selling, customers will be more likely to leave you a good review. So getting these Vine reviews where they're already thinking about leaving a review, if you can get a backlog of 4.5, 5 stars, if you can finish with 4.5 star to 5-star reviews, and then maybe you get one defective product that you just couldn't plan for, that 1-star review is already cancelled out by all the other good ones. It gives you a backing straight away.
Protection mechanism.
It's a moat.
Because as a seller, you have to know, like, you're naive if you're thinking you're never going to get a 1-star review. That day is coming, you will get a 1-star review. So you have to buffer those 5-star reviews. So when that 1-star review comes, it doesn't affect your rating at all.
Yeah,
it's hidden.
And if you've got, say, your average after getting 30 Vine reviews is 4.5 stars, and then you get that one review. If you had that one review before those reviews, you'd have a 1-star rating.
Yeah.
But because you've already got that buffer, it doesn't change. You still stay 4.5 stars.
And
It's huge.
if that happens, for example, that product that has 0 reviews, they're making 14K a month. If they got 1 review and it was a 1-star review and now their rating's 1 star, they lose that whole 14K. They go to 0. Instantly, they'll go to 0.
They're playing with fire. They're literally playing with fire.
And there are strategies that are within Amazon's terms and services to gain reviews.
I just want to build one more point just to finish that off. However, on the contrary, if they got the Vine reviews and they got 30 5-star reviews, their sales will double as well.
I think there's particular milestones that, in terms of conversion rates, I wouldn't be able to give you the exact data, but getting 1 5-star review, your conversion jumps from 0 stars to like no reviews to a 5-star, and then I think it's again at 3 reviews, and then again at 10 reviews. Like, so the number of reviews, and if they are 5 stars, that your conversion jumps each time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'd love to see the correlation, because this is just on the fly. But I do believe Australians, we don't leave as many reviews as other marketplaces. But I'd love to see the correlation in how reviews change in Australia compared to the US and stuff. Because the US, it's critical. In Canada, not as critical as US, but US is definitely one of the you have to have it. But in Australia, I don't think it's as, but it's very important. But I'm saying, I wonder what the correlation is.
It's still, maybe it's not as important as USA because it's hyper competitive there. There's so many products. So it's like a customer's like, well, how do I actually choose here? Well, I have to go into reviews. So there's such a vast array that they're comparing. In Australia, there's only like 2, 3, 4 good options. So, I mean, look, the one that has the most and the high quality reviews, maybe it's just the last point and then we can move on for reviews. Because I imagine that we're geeking out on how important reviews are because it's so, like for us, we spend a lot of time making sure that we have high quality reviews because we know how much it helps our sales. So just one more point on that is also the quality of reviews because there can be a review that just says, it's 5 stars and it says good, and then it can just say, I like. And then there can be someone that says, in the title that says, this is a phenomenal product. I love it. I wish I bought it earlier. And then it has a story. Well, I started off using this other product, but, I tried everything I could, but it just wouldn't work. And then one day I thought there has to be a better way. And then this product came into my life and now my life is better forever. There's that story. And then they also attach a video of them using it. That review there is worth so much more than just I like.
And the theory behind that is they might only need to read one review to be convinced. If
If
they spend their time with a big paragraph and they're convinced by that paragraph, they're not going to review. They're not going to read anymore. They're sold. But if they've got like 3 or 4 in a row, they're like, I like this, and then then a bad one comes in. You can sell them with that big paragraph.
100%. Most people will read just that one story and almost like the person and their story and be like, I'm going to buy this now.
Yeah, because usually it's information, it's a story, how that product is being used in their everyday life. And obviously when you're online and you're shopping for something, you're looking for a particular product to improve your life.
Yeah.
So whatever that is, whether it's like, a pillow that you want on your couch or a hydrogen water bottle to improve your health, you're buying that for a reason to improve your life. So if a review is telling you exactly how this product is going to improve your life and you can picture it in your own life, you're like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. I'm going to buy it. Definitely. And that's like subconsciously we're geeking out on this, but there is a psychology behind this.
And I want to touch that we teach this in depth, our exact strategies.
I'm glad we are geeking out. It's really interesting.
No, totally, because we firsthand have seen how much of a difference it makes. Like, I remember when we were selling the ice bath at first in America, like the storytelling reviews that we would get, like, and I was doing Wim Hof and then I came across this and then then I tried using a bin with ice in it and then the full-blown stories that you'd get for reviews and customers can like reviews too. So it's like a Facebook post and then they would go up to the top of the algorithm and have heaps of likes, which creates social proof. Anyway, reviews are super important, and we obviously teach our exact strategies inside our full program, and it's step by step exactly how to get high quality reviews. Because
that was a lot of time on reviews, which is super important. But then to finish off, I do want to maybe take it back of we were talking about Amazon Australia, but what's specific? This is a question for both of you. What is specifically amazing about Amazon Australia for a beginner?
I look, if anyone tells a beginner to go into Amazon USA, that's the worst advice that anyone could give someone. USA is so competitive. It's so saturated. every Chinese company now sells in USA, and because it's the Chinese company directly, they can bring the price right down, so all the products become cheap. And if you're a Westerner selling in USA, squeezes your margins. You can't breathe in USA.
Yeah.
The PPC, which is pay-per-click advertising costs, are really high because it's so competitive. So my point is that USA is so fucking competitive, yet everyone's still thinking and focusing on USA. Meanwhile, we're like, there's this gold mine. I'm just picturing this like land that has like gold and it's shining. It's like,
People
that's what Amazon Australia is.
Yeah, people have sold the big money in US.
Yeah, they see the big money in US, but like in Australia, it's just like there is also amazing money, but there's no competition. The PPC cost is down. There's no Chinese sellers don't come into Australia. They just don't. It's like this clear playing ground where imagine if we were just selling in Australia, not USA, Canada, blah, blah, blah. How much time a week could we have to spend on that business? And it's at $560,000 in revenue for the last 12 months in just Australia.
Yeah, well, the work I'm doing, I reckon, on Australia, I did a whole...
I wouldn't need to even do anything.
Yeah, I did
You
PPC,
would just need to check PPC and do some inventory management.
I did all of Australia PPC in under an hour.
I would also not be
About
doing
an hour and a half, maybe, and inventory management. I'd probably use like 5 hours a week I could do Australia.
Literally, you could run an Amazon Australia business, like just a solo person doing probably $500K a year, working 7 hours a week.
Once you've got your products...
You're just checking. Once at like an hour a day, you're like, yep, everything's under control. Like with Amazon, it's very a front-heavy business. So when I say front-heavy, is like to set up, to do your product
research,
product research, validating your product, getting
finding
your
a supplier,
samples, all of that stuff. So everything is heavy at the beginning. Once you've got that inventory, once you've created your listing and it's live in Amazon's warehouse, because remember, the reason that we do Amazon FBA, the reason that we can, be in Europe, be sitting in Bali right now, is because all our product goes straight from our supplier in China to the warehouse in Australia in Amazon's warehouses. That's where our product is, and Amazon does all of the logistics. So the only thing that we need to focus on is like, okay, does our branding look great? And what's our PPC doing? That's literally all and once the branding is created, it's just PPC.
Once it's up there, like for example, we have almost, I think, 7 products on Amazon Australia. I generally think once all those listings are up and once Eric's done all the front end, 5 hours max is all I need a week to manage 7 products on Amazon Australia. So we're talking about one product a week. You probably need 2 hours max. As a beginner, you're still learning. So you're gonna be like focusing on how to learn better, do advertising, all this sort of stuff as well. But you could have one product and you can manage that, I reckon, for less than 2 hours a week.
Think about this. So 550K revenue, the profit is like over 100K. I think it's like 150K or something like that. And that business can be managed just in Australia about 7-8 hours a week.
Yeah.
That's a doctor's salary, a full-blown doctor's salary, working less for the entire week than a doctor works in a day.
Yeah. 100%.
Without going to university and having 200 grand in university fees and costs. Like, let that sink in as an opportunity for a moment.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Got a PhD in Amazon.
We certainly operate surgically in the way that we get our things done.
The ducks of our class, is that what it is?
No, but seriously, like, just let that sink in for a second, how insane that is as an opportunity. And yet people are still thinking, but Amazon USA or crypto, and cryptos are bouncing around like a fucking trampoline. And everyone's like, but what about drop shipping? Drop shipping died 5 years ago.
Yeah, and you said like the question was like, why would we say for beginners in Amazon Australia? You said like basically competition and the opportunity there. But I'd also like to throw in there is that the cost of entry, which is for a beginner, because we're talking about if you're a beginner, like why would you start in Amazon Australia? Well, because there is like a little bit less revenue and a little bit less competition, you can come in with much smaller budget and actually learn and test the market and grow your skills with 1, 2, 3 or 4 different products and like just really hone in on becoming a really good Amazon seller.
What's the cost to start in Australia compared to USA? So if you were brand new, like, you're a beginner and you're like, I want to start in USA, I want to start in Australia. What's the comparison in startup price?
A good number, like we always say you could launch for say 1,500. I think a good number is 3,000 Australian dollars to launch about 100 units of a product. I think that's a good number.
In USA, it's like, at least 10 grand.
Well, you wouldn't be able to launch 100 units. You have to launch 300 or 400.
For the listeners, we're talking about to start a business on Amazon. You need to buy your product, okay? Don't get it twisted that you're just going to become a millionaire overnight by not purchasing or investing. There is still an investment, and that investment is in a product. But remember, you've done that validation. You know that there is demand, that people are going to Amazon to purchase your specific product. And as Chris and Eric are saying, in Australia, like we've, $3,000 for an investment, that's like a nice, really healthy, like you're not really tight. However, we've had students...
It gives you more options.
More options. However, in saying that, like you can, firstly, if you're like, well, I don't have that much money to invest right now, but I want to start this, you can do your product research. You can set up your Amazon listings and things like that while you save for your budget as well. And we have had students start with, buying, let's say
50 units. If you do 50 units and that costs $20 per unit from a supplier, that's $1,000.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, we had a student start, they invested $500.
Yeah.
And they sold out just like that.
Just to learn.
She learned so much, was able to reinvest and go again. And she was
100%.
also had validation that, yes, in fact, people really, really want her product. She already knew that. But then sometimes it's like, you don't know, or you feel like you don't know until people actually start buying it.
And because there's less complexities in Amazon Australia, we always talk about running out of stock's an issue, but in America, you can't run out of stock. If you launch a product, you run out of stock, you're back to the bottom. Where Australia, you can potentially run out of stock for a couple of weeks while you're still testing product, and you can get back to the top very quickly at a lesser expense. So that's the growth. As a beginner, you can fall over and trip a few more times in Amazon Australia and not get burnt.
Yeah,
you can.
I just want to close this conversation off by, if someone in the audience is seriously thinking about this, you have to start Amazon Australia now. It is the perfect time, because it's that cross section of that. There's enough demand, and there's still low competition, but at some point, people are going to catch on.
Yeah,
and then the competition will get up to the demand, right? But right now, it's still low competition, high as fuck demand. You have to get in right now. It's that cross section where there's money there, but no one still knows about the opportunity. So if you start now, you're basically buying real estate.
Yeah.
It's like buying in New York, Manhattan, in the prime spot back in fucking, I don't know when was hot, let's say 1950s. Right? And now you still own that land today in 2025. I dare say it's appreciated a little bit. Yeah. And it's the same thing in Amazon, because Amazon remembers you in the algorithm. You collect all of those reviews. Amazon favors you a little bit the longer you've been selling.
Yeah, and
you're buying real estate, digital real estate on Amazon Australia that will be there forever. And in 5 years, that's a listing that's worth a lot of money that you can sell to someone for a lot of money.
Yeah. That's right. And an example is, for example, our ice bath. We started selling that ice bath 2 years ago. On Amazon Australia, and now so much more competition have come in. But if you go on Amazon Australia, we're number one.
Yeah, and we're locked in that position.
And why are we number one? Or one of the reasons that no one can really take our position is because of our reviews.
We have solid reviews. We have
so many reviews, no one's going to catch up to us.
Also, it's a benefit because we know everything else is completely optimized. But as Australian sellers, and this is a little tip as well, just having in your listing and in your bullet points, Australian owned and operated. Mm-hmm. Aussies love that shit too. Yeah. And a lot of people don't have that. And they don't do these little things like that. Just, leaning into nationalism a little bit and stuff like that.
Yeah, we have family owned business. We have a photo of us three. We love health. We want to help you be healthy as well. So having those stories, because people spend money, people buy with emotions, not logic. So if you, it's all psychology. If you put these things in there, conversion goes up.
And I if you look at our marquee products, they have been top sellers for the last couple of years, and that's competition's come in, even competition from US or from other marketplaces we know of, and they just they've fizzled out because we are Australian focused and we just dominate the Australian market.
I love it when that happens, because a few times over our 2 years selling the ice bath, let's say, competition has come in. And, they'll take, some of our sales, right? So let's say we're doing 20K in a month, and then new competition comes in, they get 1 5-star review, and they start making, let's say 3K months. And then our sales maybe drop by 1 or 2 or K, because it kind of, the customer has to decide between products. I'm always let's just be patient, because I guarantee that their product is shithouse. I guarantee that their quality control is poor. I guarantee that they'll get some shit reviews.
And they don't have a review strategy.
And they don't have a review strategy, and then they'll go bust.
It's funny. It's
1 month goes past, they do okay. 2 months goes past, they do okay. 3 months, oh, what happened to that seller? Look him up. bang, bad reviews in the bin. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to sell on Amazon, and they're gone. It's happened countless times.
It's funny, like one of the advertising on Amazon's strategies is to target our competitors when they come in, and I was doing like just an overhaul of our competitor targeting and
with advertising, right?
advertising
PPC advertising, you
PPC.
can target a competitor.
Yeah, like your
so
product
you show up on their listing.
Yeah, exactly. So your product shows up on their listing. I was just doing an overhaul of our competitor targeting, and I was like, 4 out of 10 of them didn't exist anymore, or they weren't selling because they're gone. Their rating had dropped off. They're gone. Literally what Eric was saying, like they're gone. Like they're out of the system.
So our point is that you come in as a new seller at the hottest time, like Amazon Australia's got that growth curve. The revenue is going up by $1 billion a year or something like that. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
It's literally insane. Competition still hasn't caught up. No one's talking about the opportunity. So you can come in, implement what we're doing as professionals and dominate, claim that real estate. And in 5 years from now, you have a business that's been thriving for 5 years and it's then worth a lot of money and you can sell that business. That is the opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. This is Amazon Australia.
Yeah, and I think that's the perfect way to finish this episode off. So if you do want to get started on Amazon Australia and you want to get started with us with our Conquer Amazon Academy, click the link around this episode and you can get information, join us and start right now, because as Eric said, the opportunity is today, and success.
And don't miss out.
Speed.
Don't miss out, because seriously, like the clock's ticking.
And find us on the socials and follow, see what we're getting up to.
See you later.
Click the link
Peace.
down below.